Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyrie here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in this video I want to talk about something I'm legitimately really excited about, something I've been complaining about a long time about this game, which is they don't show the actual modifiers for moves. You don't know the specifics on if you skill up a move, you see exactly how much damage it is, what it's based off of, if it's what percentages of which stat is used. So looks like there is a /leak or /data mined version of, it's not a complete list, but at least it's something. Currently the list is in Russian. I'll link it down in the description if you just want to see it yourself. But this is something I'm legitimately excited about, and I think it's really cool to be able to actually see the numbers. Because right now we have to go by feel and just kind of a lot of unnecessary testing. This is something that literally any other game that I've ever played that is like this always has these numbers in the game. You know, Marvel Strike Force, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, League of Legends, for even like list goes on and on about like any game I could think of that's similar to this always has the numbers built in, and it just blows my mind. Even Dragon Champions, even like has every move. It's like that's how you could gauge a character. And to go to a game like this that doesn't have that is infuriating. I kind of get why they don't show that, but it's just weird that this is probably when the precedent's been set by every other game that this game is copying, for them to not do that. It's frustrating, but we at least got something here. It's been fun to like look through the numbers. Like I was saying earlier, it's not a complete list. It looks accurate to me just off feel and like how I've experienced the game. I'm just going to go with it and assume that it's pretty accurate. That's just based on my kind of first initial thought, looking at it, seeing how characters feel against me, how my damage feels when I'm using that character. It looks pretty good to me. The looking through has been kind of fun, just seeing like which characters have high ratios, which ones have low ones. It looks like there's a lot of like kind of hidden ones in there where they don't have high base modifiers, or they don't have high base stats, so high modifiers don't really do anything for them. That's why there's a couple ones that haven't really been discovered or aren't really used that much. Characters that hit pretty weak usually have like a 1x anywhere to like a low, like a 1 to 1.5 modifier, whereas the people that hit hard are in the 5 modifier, 5 times to like all the way to a 7. Like I've seen some 7s. There is weirdly enough, an 8.6 modifier, a times modifier on attack on this uncommon character, and that's by far the highest one I've seen. That's kind of hilarious. I'm gonna have to get this character up because that's funny. And then, for example, the highest one I saw before that was Knight Errant, this Bannerlord here. Let's check it out. Here's one, the 6.7 modifier on him. Big mid-game character where people don't really have access to that much gear, but he's still used decently amount. Like imagine now with all the gear that you would have if you're playing like late game, and you can really bump this 6.7 attack modifier like pretty crazy. You can do a ton of damage with that guy. Same here with the 6.5 on Basilisk. And then we got, or is he? Here he is. He has a 7 times and a 6 times and a 4.5. All his moves hit like a truck. The login reward we're going to get for 150 days actually hits pretty hard too on his A2. What else? Excruciator. I've been thinking about getting this person up. Doesn't have the ignored defense. So for example, this one is a 5.2 attack modifier on a very high base attack. But when you compare her to Gala, for example, where's Gala? Gala, I believe, has a 4.7, but ignores 50% of the defense. And it takes that ignore for her, because I use Gala a ton, and if she didn't have that 50% ignore defense, she wouldn't hit hard enough. So it's seeing that, like now it's like, I like the moves of Excruciator, but now that I'm able to see the attack modifier of her, if she would need like a 6 times or something like that for me to justify using her over a Gala, because I know how hard Gala hits with 50% ignore defense. A plus 5 or plus 0.5% to the attack modifier is not going to justify using her, in my opinion, even though she does have a pretty interesting kit. But being able to see that, like, that's a direct useful thing of being able to see this list. And that probably goes back to the reason why they don't release these numbers, because it just saves me so much time. It would save everyone so much time where you don't have to test it. Everyone has to completely level up the character before they even test it. And then here's another one that's pretty interesting: a 6 times defense modifier on her A3. That's probably why it hits so hard. A Cold Brawler is pretty much my main poisoner. Both of his moves actually have crazy modifiers on them. So I'm thinking about now I'm gonna try to build him instead of first survivability. I'm gonna build him way more attack and see just how hard I can make his A1 and his A2 hit, because I think that's really interesting. Like there's a lot of potential there. I didn't know he hit that hard. So like that's another thing that I get to try now. Here's something that I think is really cool is Sinisa and Skullcrown. So she has way better base stats, but she has way better modifiers. And I think that's interesting because you have Skullcrown notorious for hitting very hard on her A2, but it's only a 4.3 modifier. But she has a 1,500 base, so it's way easier to get her that far. But she, on her single target ability, has a 6.9. Like that's one of the highest in the game. But no one will ever really know that because she has 700 base less attack. So it takes way better gear to ever even come close until you're starting to realize that she's doing a lot of damage potentially. What are some others? That's enough with the epics. Let's go to some legendaries. Here, this explains so much because I've been complaining about Drex not hitting at all. He hits like a complete noodle. And here's exactly why. He's probably one of the only characters in the game that has a 0.5. He 0.5% defense. Like that's garbage. It doesn't even hit for if you have like 1,000 defense, it hits for 500 defense. Yeah, and then plus attack. So it's like it's still doing defense plus attack. So it's like straight garbage. And no wonder why he hits so weak. But he does apparently hit very hard on his A2, so which is nice to know at least. But his A1 is so bad. So it's unfortunate, but at least it's nice to know the modifier because I was wondering why the hell he hits so weak. And then we, Draco notorious for hitting pretty hard on his A1, but it's the combination of the debuff part of his kit plus a really good modifier on the 3.5. 3.5 seems to be one on the high end for A1s. I haven't really been paying too much attention, but see like Septimus 3.6, Ignatius 3.8. It seems like A1s are not really in that range. Here's one. Warlord apparently hits really hard on his A1, but has a very low initial base stat. So it's like this kind of stuff is very cool. You get to see the difference. Like, okay, really high modifier on the A1. Oh, okay, but the base stat's really low. So you got to kind of play with it a little bit. But at least knowing that now, if you didn't know that, you'd just be like, oh, he hits weak. But now they're with this, the modifier is high. So if you really boost up that attack, then he's going to actually hit really hard because he has a really high modifier. Which is, yeah, so Longbeard. Longbeard hits really hard. I don't have a Longbeard. It'd be a very good character. Apparently also has very high modifiers. I've never really thought of him as a character that hits hard, but his modifiers show, and he has very, very high base. So this guy can be hitting incredibly hard, but I think a lot of people don't build him for that. They assume that they all only want to get his A3 out, but he could be hitting really hard. So that's really cool. We got Ray here. Ray, another character notorious for hitting really hard. Makes sense. Pretty good base with 1,300, but has really good modifiers on the A2 and the A3. What are some other good ones? Soulless. So if you pulled a Soulless, I think a lot of people sleep on this guy. He hits incredibly hard on his A1, and not only on his A1, all his moves hit really hard too. He has a decent base defense. I wish it was higher, especially on a Void Legendary that's defense based. Is he support? I'm not sure, but defense based character like that, I wish he was like in the 1,400 range. I think that people would really notice just how hard he can hit with that. From forgetting this name, but Crypt King, Grawl actually has a solid modifier. He actually weirdly has a higher modifier on his A1 than his other two moves. I think that's definitely unique. And then here we go with Mountain King. Mountain King has these HP characters. I don't think they have Sir Nick. I wanted to check out Sir Nick. I was looking at it earlier. Yeah, see they don't have Sir Nick. They don't have these three characters. They don't have Sir Nick, Sifi, or Rhodos, which is kind of a bummer. Hopefully they'll eventually get that sooner rather than later, but that'd be nice to have. We got the young Cillian the Lucky with pretty high modifiers. So if you actually did that fusion, that's nice to know. What else we got? Mashald with the 6.6 attack modifier. I don't know. It's fun to watch. It's fun to look at this stuff. I think this is super fun. It explains also why the new fusion doesn't hit very hard, because a 1.4, anything in the 1 to 2 range is usually pretty weak. It usually takes to like the 2.8 to where you really start to notice that the attack hits hard. And then four, anywhere from like 4 to 7 is definitely in the actually does damage range. Lysandra hits hard. I think Murdering did a video on some of these characters, and it makes sense. It makes sense why they hit so hard. Like it makes sense why people didn't figure him out, and it makes sense why when he actually put the gear on, why they hit so hard, because of these modifiers. Like, so you see a character here, Sinisa and Lysandra. So their modifiers are a 4 times and a 6 times, but people didn't figure out because their base is so low. You got a 900 base here, and then you go over here to Sinisa. Yeah, so then you got an 892 here, but she has a 3 times and a 6.9 times. So once you actually put the attack damage on her, she's going to hit like an absolute truck. Very, very interesting. And makes it to where this, I guess this kind of stuff shouldn't be hidden from us, in my opinion. I really wish they would add this. This would be a really good quality of life feature going forward. If when we hover over the move, we can go in there and see this kind of stuff. This stuff really needs to be added. It would really help out, in my opinion. But be sure, check it down in the description if you're interested, and hope you guys enjoyed. You guys have a good one. Peace.